Hey y'all, Shabbat Shalom, welcome. Another Friday night. Okay, I'm gonna have Jen Carolyn in a moment come up here and light our Shabbat candles. If you want to join her, you can be it's on page 120 of your prayer books. And also Genevieve will be joining us this evening as well.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר Shabbat. Amen.
Thank you. Amen. Okay. All right, Genevieve, you want to thank you, Genevieve, for joining us this morning. This evening. We're gonna move over to Hine Matov on page 128.
Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. So before we move to Lachadodi on page, what page is Lachadodi on? 138. A quick announcement. I'm thinking about towards the end of March, making it a mask optional for Friday night services. So that's my thoughts. If you have any thoughts about that, please feel free to tell me, as I know you will, as we're Jewish. But just so you know, that's what I'm thinking. And it'll be mask optional starting at the end of March, early April. Okay. No, if you want to take your mask off now while you're sitting down in your distance, you can just go for it. But yeah, to get up, I encourage you to put your mask back on. Okay, and then another thing is that, so one thing that I've been told is that if I stand too close to this mic while you're singing, they pick up my voice instead of your voice, which is not what I want to have happen at all. I would argue that yours is the most important voice.
So when you do your thing, I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna ask you to come right here in front and forward, okay? You do, yes. What's that? I think there's a thing about rabbis, they comfort the afflicted and they afflict the comfortable, right? So I'm doing the second bit with you over this one, yeah. Okay, moving on to Chadodi. I imagine we are reciting paragraphs 1, 2, 5, and 9. Is that accurate?
Sounds right to me.
Okay, 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we arrive to paragraph 9, I encourage you all to stand up and face the entrance as we greet the Shabbat bride. Off you go.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shemor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shem tiferet v'hitila. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala.
Shabbat Tehillah. Lecha Dodi Dodi, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Mekabela, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Mekabela, Hitoreri, Kivarei, Kumi Uri, Shirdaberi, Kevad Adonai Alik Nidla. Lecha Dodi Dodi, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Mekabela, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Mekabela.
Please rise.
Boi v'shalom materat bala, gam besimcha uvsohola, toch emune am segula, boi chala, lecha dodi dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei shabbat mekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei shabbat mekabela.
You may be seated. Beautiful. Okay, we're moving to the Chatzi Kaddish. Am I doing this one or are you doing this one? I'm doing this one. Great. On 144. Yitkada v'yitkada shemei rabba Belma divrach yote v'yamlik machute B'chayechon uv'yomechon Uv'chayerechol beit Yisrael Bagala Uvizman kariv V'imaru amen Yehi shmei rabba mevarach Le'alam ulal me'al maya Yitbarach V'yishtabak V'yitpa'ar V'yipramam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh Shemei Dekudashah Barichu Le'elamin Kol Berchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Damiran Delmam V'imaru Amen. Move on to the Baruch Hu on page 146, and when you arrive there, I invite you to stand with us. Okay, you may be seated. And let us read together the top of page 149 in the English. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim. We're going to continue now in the English. We're going to read the top of page 151 together. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mysteries beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know, and lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. So for Shema tonight, we're going to recite, of course, it together as a community, as Or Kahal, and then we're going to recite Baruch Hashem kind of to ourselves a bit, and then after that, we're going to have a few moments of silent reflection and meditation before we move into the Via Hafta. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kivod Malechuto Leolam Vaed. Uh, 154. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levacha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meyodecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinartam levarnecha b'divarta ba'am v'shivtecha b'veitecha U'v'techa havaderech, u'shofbecha uv'kumecha, u'kshartam leyot al yadecha, v'hayu l'totafot b'neinecha, u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha. Lema'an tizkeru v'chitem echol mitzvotai, v'tem kedoshim leiloechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem. Asher hotzeti etchem meretz Mitzrayim liot lechem leElohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Move now to Micha Mocha on page 158. You got a Micha Mocha you want to do?
Just do the first part and then read the English.
You got something you want to say?
Unless you got something else.
Go for it.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nora tehilo osef elei.
No, not when I can't, did you?
No, I didn't.
That's not can't Micha
That's
Mocha.
not a camp. I can do a campy Nehamocha.
Ooh, stick around, because now we're moving to Hashkivenu on page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom, v'ha'amideinu malkeinu lechaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen.
And we move over to Shamru on page 162.
V'shamru v'nei b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובין בני ישראל, בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We now turn to the Amidah on page 164. When you arrive there, I invite you to stand with us. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol v'Hagibor v'Ha'Nonah El Elyon Gomel Chassadim Tavli the Konei Hakol, the Zocher Chasei Avot, Umevi Gedula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shema Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ezra Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechokir Kol Atah Rav Yoshia. Mashiach Haruach Marich HaKasher, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachim Rachim, Somech Nofli Verofeh Choli, Umatir Rasurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishonei Lama, Michamocha Umi Gomel, Melech Mimi, Umechaye, Umatzir Yeshua, Une'eman Atah Chayot Hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye Hakol. Okay, we're going to now continue silently until page 180. You may be seated whenever you like.
Say shalom limrama, say shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Say shalom limrama. Say shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Say shalom, say shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael. Say shalom, say shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael. Say shalom, say shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael. Say shalom, say shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael.
Okay, some words of Torah. So this week we made it to the book of Leviticus. So congratulations, everyone. We're here in a new book. And Leviticus has a nickname. It's often referred to as the priestly handbook. And it can be viewed as something like a textbook for priests. It provides a lot of instructions about how priests and Israelites work at the tabernacle, also called the Mishkan, also referred to as a tent of meeting. And while this book does have a limited narrative, within this textbook, we learn the worldview of the priests and what they're trying to do. First, I think it's easy to confuse the priests we see in Leviticus with the priests we see at the Jerusalem temple. Jerusalem priests were an elite group of people who ran the temple and often led Israel. But the priests in the book of Leviticus, I would compare more as military chaplains. These priests are in the field, often sent to war or help quarantine disease outbreaks. They are a working class of priests, wandering with the rest of the Israelites throughout Sinai. However, unlike prophets who communicate to Adonai through prayer or just through normal conversation, the priests communicate to Adonai through ritual. The priests have a specific worldview. They believe that our universe was made by God with a sense of harmony. It is our responsibility as humans to balance this harmony. The priests believe that we disrupt this balance when we break God's commandments. According to the Levitical priests, the only way to rebalance this disruption is through ritual. So it's the priest's responsibility to maintain a harmonious universe as practitioners of these rituals. And this worldview really changes the definition of holiness and purification for me. We often think of something or someone that is holy or pure as existing in a special state, or being a special state of being, or having like special powers. In fact, within Orthodox Judaism, there's this term called Das Torah, where a rabbi's Torah is so strong it like imbues them with special powers. Das Torah it's referred to as. For the priests of Leviticus, Das Torah is not a thing. Everyone needed to be in a holy or pure state of being. It wasn't special, it was normal, maybe even mundane. A great modern example for this situation is how we think about laundry, which is a weird metaphor, I know, but hear me out. Clean laundry is the preferable state of being for laundry. Clean laundry should not be special, it should be normal. When laundry is unclean, we go through a series of rituals, often involving soap and water, that makes it clean again. And I'm just going to continue the metaphor a little further, so excuse me while I do that. We often don't intend for our laundry to get really dirty. When it does, especially if it's nice, we can hire professionals to clean our laundry. And I would argue that the dress shirt sullied by the careless use of dipping sauce, made clean again, does bring harmony back to the universe. Thus, professional clothes cleaners fulfill this sacred function. Anyways, Israelites often need to hire a professional to help bring them back to a state of being pure, which is the natural state that Israelites want to be in. So if we look at this week's Torah portion, we find two kinds of animal sacrifices that help bring a person back to a state of being pure. Traditionally, these sacrificial rituals have been called a sin offering and a guilt offering. While these names are a direct translation of the Hebrew, I don't believe these names represent what these sacrificial rituals are actually doing. So I would call a sin offering a purification offering, but it's also referred to as a purgation offering. This offering makes someone who broke God's commandment pure again. I would call a guilt offering a repairing offering or a reparation offering. This offering was in addition to whatever financial reparations are required for a person that destroyed property. So to recap, a purgation offering is to atone for breaking a commandment, and a reparation offering was to atone for damaging someone else's property. These are those two sacrificial rituals, what they're for. So essentially, a purgation offering or a reparation offering harmonizes the whole universe. However, Leviticus chapter 4 clearly illustrates that the offerings only work if the sin or the guilt incurred is an accident. There is no way to harmonize the universe if one breaks a commandment or someone's property on purpose. This is another interesting worldview of the priests. Intentionally breaking God's commandments permanently harms the universe. A sacrificial ritual cannot undo that damage. And this, in my mind, is very clever. This worldview is a preventive measure for the Israelites. If the Israelites felt that no matter what they could always sacrifice an animal to atone for sins, then there's nothing preventing them from breaking God's commandments in the first place. This priestly worldview acts as a means to regulate Israelite behavior. So to recap this priestly worldview, if you accidentally break a commandment, you become impure because you unbalanced the harmony of the universe, and you can only heal the universe through ritual. Another clever addition that we see in this week's portion of Leviticus is the question of what happens if a priest breaks a commandment by accident. This is a dangerous situation because a priest in a state of impurity can apparently make everything around them impure as well. It's a transferable condition. So it's important that priests remain ritualistically pure at all times. What I love about Leviticus is that instead of the book saying priests just don't be impure, it says here it lists out the ways a priest can find themselves back into a state of purity. Leviticus is wise enough to anticipate that priests are human beings and can also make mistakes. Leviticus is the book that shows us how important ritual is for our tradition. As modern Jews, we may not think of ritual as saving the universe. However, I believe that any ritual, no matter how mundane, like brushing your teeth, for example, or no matter how meaningful, like saying the mourner's Kaddish, it has an incredibly powerful effect on our lives. Perhaps we should value it as important as these Levitical priests valued it. Because ritual doesn't just bring harmony to our universe. Ritual also helps bring harmony within ourselves. Thank you. We're now going to move on to the Misha Barak, the prayer for healing, which is on page 371 of your prayer books. And before Genevieve sings it, I'm going to list out the members in our own community that is in need of healing. They are Tina Mink, Chris Converse, Jennifer Eskridge, Ian Clift, David Tobias, Katie Flegel, Lindsay Raber, Micah Purdy, Cheryl Embriani, Laura Allen, Susan Super, Mary Jo Robinson, Melba Cook, Emmy Webb, Stephen Lamp, Russell Krass, Bill Ross, Alan Friedman, Russ Nog, Ross Rumack, Norma Sarah Haas, Ray Ellis, Judy Cantor, Carol Riven, Diane Kaplan, Craig Paulus, Philip Kaufman, Nicole Neeson, Jane Anderson, Louise Mayer, Lillian Mayer, and Margie Bowman. If there's someone who you are thinking of, I encourage you to say their names out loud or in your hearts.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habrecha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We now move to the Eleni, which you can find on page 587 of your prayer books. And when you arrive there, I invite you to stand with us. Eleni l'shabek la'adon ha'kol la'teik gedulah le'yotzer b'reshit shehu samchel ke'yulech et shemo v'garalanu b'hamlik malchuto v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Turn on top of page 591. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Love each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech. May we never lift up our hands but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'ne'emar v'hayra Adonai l'melech kol haaretz v'yom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo We now turn to the Mourner's Kalash on page 598 of our prayer books. And for this, in this week, these are the yahrzeits we're thinking about. Isidore Greenman, Bernard Lee, Irma Mannheimer, Irving Nathanson, Carol Rubin, and Amelia Stonecker. If there's someone who you are thinking about, please feel free to say their names out loud or in your hearts. Zikrona livracha, may the memories be for a blessing. Yit Gadal v'yit Gadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divra charioti v'yamlik machute, B'chayechon u'v'yamechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarak le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitzbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitbramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah barichu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'akol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'akol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. You may be seated. Okay, announcement. So tomorrow we have our text study at 10:30 as usual, and then it's a Torah Uncensored tomorrow at is it at noon? When does it usually start? I think it's at noon. Yeah, I'll be teaching it tomorrow at noon, and I'm talking about what our Jewish texts say about the bathroom. So please come to Torah Uncensored for that. You can still sign up on it online. So there's that. And then we have our busy Wednesday. We have morning minyan on Wednesday at 8 a.m. And then Wednesday evening, we have our drive-through Purim program. We're inviting everyone to drive through, remind yourself what it's like to drive to shul, you know what I mean, if you haven't driven here in a while, and say hello. If you're wearing a costume, we'll take a picture of it and we'll put it up on our website. And if you're a child, we have a goodie bag for you. So just come by and say hi. We'll be here from 6:30 to 7:30 on March 16th, this Wednesday, just to hang out. And it's essentially in the parking lot. And we've got some volunteers who are here tonight. So thank you, volunteers, for helping us out on this one. And super excited for it. But I'm excited for hopefully next year we can have, Purim in person. And so, but there we go. And then is there anything else I'm forgetting? That's everything we got going on for now. No religious school this upcoming Sunday. We are out for spring break. Also, this upcoming Sunday is daylight savings, so watch out for that. Yeah, way more problematic when you have children. Daylight savings, it's the worst. Anyways, I think that's all announcements we got. So, you ready to close for us?
For Director Purim, there's also we're doing canned food drive.
Right, thank you. For drive-through Purim, there's a canned food drive, so bring some cans, and we will put them to good use. Okay, we're gonna recite. We're gonna sing Shalom Aleichem on 142 for our closing melody. That's correct. Yeah, right. Great. Okay, so here we go.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Teichem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. So good seeing you here. Thank you for coming, and watch out on those roads. They're kind of gross today. Yeah.